This morning's warm-up asked you to watch the video that's called Naming Guidelines in our Code HS program that we're working on writing our Python code. And then I asked you, what are three rules to remember, three guidelines when you're naming functions? So in Code HS, you have that naming guidelines, and then there's the quiz after it to make sure you understood it. But as it goes through, it's going to remind you some of the things that you need to keep in mind when you're naming things within our Python code. So one of them is that you cannot start with a number. So if you wanted to use the word, the number 3, you would have to write the word 3, like TRHEE instead of the number. We also don't use spaces or capital letters. So keep those in mind. If your code was going to be called 4 sides, you just would need to use the word FOUR and then underscore. We put underscores in between words, and then the word sides, and keep that all in lowercase letters. So also just try to be real specific, but not too specific that you have a super long name for your function. So we're going to start talking about functions today, and everyone's going to start on part 8. There'll be a quick little video and a quiz just like usual, and then there's a really good example here that will kind of show you how they're using a function. So what a function does is you will define the function, right, with the code DEF, and after that you will write what it is, and see how they were very specific. So draw the hashed access, and then they have the colon here after, and everything that's indented underneath that will be what is done whenever you tell Tracy to draw that hashed access. So farther down here, wherever they say draw the hashed access, again, draw the hashed access. Whenever they say that to her, whenever you write that in your code, she will go up and she will do all of this part that's up here. She will do everything within that function. So functions are really great for simplifying our code. We don't have to write the same thing over and over again. We don't have to copy and paste and have a really long code. We're able to just list everything one time, give it a name, and then later just tell her that name. So one of the ones that you're going to do when you get into here is in part 8 is you will do one called a beaded bracelet. So I just want to give you a couple of tips for that one when you're working on it today. So you have to have Tracy make all of these little circles all the way around. And I believe there's 36, let me come over here to exercise, 36 beads. Each bead is 10 pixel radius and the bracelet is 200, so half of that is 100. So if I come back over here, I want to start, I'm practicing doing those, the comments. So I'm going to do the 3 quotation marks to start a multi-line comment, just so I can say, what this program is going to do. This program will have Tracy draw a beaded ring or something like that, however you wanted to word it. And then again, the 3 quotes to end my comment. Remember, these comments she will not read because they're not part of the Python code that I'm trying to say to her. They're just notes for me as the programmer or notes for any other coder who's reading my program. I'm going to set her speed really slow at the beginning just so I can just kind of see how it's looking. And then I'm going to start with just a 1-line comment so that I can say that I'm about to define the function. So I'm going to say this function will move. I'm going to have Tracy move out. Have Tracy move out, draw a circle, and move back. So then I'm going to use that DEF, that code DEF, and I'm going to define what it means for Tracy to draw a circle. So she starts in the middle. I want her to come out, draw 1 bead, and then I want her to go back to the circle. And then I'm going to have her do that 36 times to make it all the way around. So I'm going to define what it means to make a bead. And I'm just going to name my function make underscore bead. You are welcome to name it whatever you want. Remember, keeping those guidelines. For syntax, make sure you put that colon at the end, and then everything underneath that you want her to do to make a bead will be indented. So I need her to pick her pen up. I need her to move out. I'm going to say 100, put her pen down, draw a circle, pick her pen up, and then come back. So I'm going to start with pen up. Then I want her to, go forward. I said that was 100 because it was half of the beaded circle, beaded ring. Then I want her to put her pen down. Then I want her to make a circle, which I believe I said was radius of 10. I could be wrong on that. And then I want her to pick her pen up. And then again, she has to move back out to the center, out back to the center of the circle, and that was 100. So then she should be back. So I'm just going to tell her, I'm going to backspace here back to my margin. I'm going to tell her to run. I'm going to tell her to make this bead. Now remember with my function, whenever I say make bead to Tracy, she will come up here and do everything that I have defined. So I'm just going to run this and we'll see what she's doing. She's moving forward. Oops, I spelled circle wrong. Syntax error. I'm going to tell her to run this, and I want to see what she's doing. She's moving out. Her pen is up. She puts pen down, makes the circle, and then comes back. So that looks pretty perfect. I'm actually going to turn this into a loop now. So I'm going to say, with my hashtag, I'm going to have a comment. This loop will have Tracy make 36 beads in the ring. So I'm going to tell her to, I'm going to do my loop for I in range, and I'm going to tell her how many times I want her to do this. I want her to do it 36 times, and tab in, I want her to make a bead 36 times. And I forgot my colon. Those syntax errors get ya. So run this code. I want her to come out. She's going to come out and she's going to do this 36 times. So I need to just add one more thing here. I need her to make the bead, but then I also need her to turn to the left or right, whichever one you want. 360 divided by 36, 10 degrees. Let's see how this works. And again, I'm just having her run it nice and slow just so I can watch and make sure that she's doing everything within that function, and it looks like she is. And then she comes down, she makes a bead, and she turns. So see if you can get this one, and then the next one that you will work on will be a stack of different shapes. There's a couple of different ways to do that. There's a couple of different ways to do this one. You guys have learned and seen that with lots of them, that there's lots of different ways to get these coding programs written. This is just one that made sense to me. So hopefully there's some good tips for you, and you'll get lots of practice with functions today.